Hello everybody, I know a lot of my longtime viewers like watching these, and I love making these and talking about collecting goals and everything, so here's another one of my completed collections. I've done a whole lot of movies, some favorite actors, and some smaller TV shows over the years, and now we're getting into the big guys. Now we're getting into the stuff that I have the larger collections for, the things that I really love more than anything, starting with one of the most recently completed, The X-Files. One of the best things to come out of the 90s, one of the most fascinating series ever made. Definitely a show that I prefer the first few seasons when they were filming in Vancouver initially, and definitely think there was a bit of change in tone and a drop in quality once they moved and started filming in LA, and it became a series that had a lot more build-up without quite enough payoff in the later seasons for me. But overall, even the worst season of the whole show, which I think is season 9 for me personally, I still have watched it multiple times and enjoy it. And when it's at its best, it's some of my favorite TV shows ever. Brilliant show. I love the mystery. I love everything that it explores over time and the questions that it asks, and even if the answer is not always as satisfying towards the end of the show, it's still great. I love every bit of it, and it tackles a lot of very interesting topics in cryptozoology or with extraterrestrials or government conspiracies, all that kind of stuff, in a way that's both fun and intellectually stimulating, because I think you can go either way with that and make it a little too dry and analytical, or you can make it a little too supernatural and spooky and exciting without actually asking bigger questions. And I think when The X-Files was at its best, it did both, and it never forgot to include a sense of humor. Every once in a while, some of my favorite episodes are actually just a lot of fun and curious. So I put up as a kind of a background here all my X-Files books. I have a few on the show itself and a few original novels that are really good. There are plenty more out there, and I would probably read some other ones if I ever came across them just in the wild, but these are the ones I have, and I have them all. I had some of these in paperback initially, transferred most of them all to hardcover, and then have a few of them on, book on tape. There's some cassettes. The Future from the novelization there. And this is really cool, the Unofficial X-Files Companion Part 1. And it's read by Nana Visitor and Dwight Schultz. Dwight Schultz and Nana Visitor, I am a huge Star Trek fan, so having the two of them read stuff from the X-Files, that's just like an extra treat. That's really cool. So I'll move those kind of to the side here. I'm going to need a little more room. I'll go through the set of the series that I have, and then get into the other releases on things like LaserDisc and Blu-ray and that kind of stuff. But starting off with just the general release of the series, my favorite season of the show, I think seasons 1 through 5 is the best era. The best, I think, are 1 through 3 overall. But my personal favorite, even though I would probably say 3 has the best writing, my personal favorite is actually the first season. It's just such a strong first season of a show. It's one of my favorite first seasons of a show ever. Even some shows that I like more than the X-Files, I think their first season was probably not as strong as this one. This one, right out of the gate, amazing. So I have the older big box set on DVD, kind of like the Anchor Bay sets I have for Xena and Hercules I've shown a couple times, but I really love these giant, fold out ones, and I love the look of these, and it keeps folding out to the side here. There's so many discs, it's huge. I love these, but it's not always economical to have an entire show in these older sets, unless there's a big quality difference, like the Xena and Hercules sets. The older Anchor Bay ones are much better. But so I have that one, and then the newer set of season 1. So you can see the difference why I tend not to have entire series in just the older sets, because look at the size difference. The older ones are nicer, but season 3 and one of the much newer sets, there's a couple different variations over time. You have that initial one, you have these little individual slim case ones, newer ones here, a bunch of different ones. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, Fight the Future, movie, and that's kind of the turning point for me, is the movie. Season 5 in the movie together kind of the end of what I think is the best era of the X-Files, even though there's good stuff in the rest of them. Season 6, Season 7, 8, 9, I Want to Believe, which is, yeah, just kind of mediocre. I agree with a lot of people that it just feels like an unused script thrown into as a movie. It was enjoyable enough once, but kind of a low point for the series. Then it came back with Season 10, the event series, which I was very surprised with how much I enjoyed that. It was really, really good. And then one that I have on Blu-ray instead of DVD, we have, I think this was a UK release of Season 11, the newest season. Season 11 is actually a little bit harder to find around me on the DVD format, and I found the Blu-ray set actually about 2/3 of the price of what a lot of the DVD versions were going for, so I just went for the Blu-ray. So that is to start off my set for the entire season. I'm going to clear those out of the way and get into some of the more individual releases. I have 2 of the special collections on DVD. I really enjoy these kind of things. I have a bunch for Star Trek as well, where it's a collection of episodes based on theme from different seasons. We have from seasons 3, 4, and 5, the Black Oil set. So there's different sets. There's a couple more than the 2 that I have based on different mythologies or different aspects of the show. We have that one, and my personal favorite, Abduction. So I really like that element of the show, and it's from seasons 1, 2, and 3, so my favorite seasons. Really, really cool 4-disc set, and includes different commentaries and some more behind-the-scenes kind of documentary type features. Really cool. And then for my 2 favorite seasons, I have the Blu-ray release of Season 2. Really love this set, really high quality. And my favorite individual release that I have on DVD or Blu-ray for the series is my Japanese Season 1 Blu-ray. Really cool. This is a amazing set. I like this one a lot. Now moving on to LaserDisc, and for big LaserDisc fans, they know they're very, very popular. There were box set releases of most of the series on LaserDisc in Japan. We didn't get those by season, those box sets in the US, but we did get a lot of individual releases, mostly from seasons 1 to 3, a few later, but mostly that was the focus, and I have most of them, not all of them. But all the ones that I wanted, and grabbed them all pretty early in when I was getting LaserDisc. But to start, we have the movie, widescreen LaserDisc release, and these they would put together, as you'll see with some of these here, more by theme. They weren't necessarily, season 2, episode 1 and 2 or something like that. Like the Japanese box sets were the individual seasons, but these were a little more collected by theme. This one has, Beyond the Sea and EBE, and they would all start with a bit of an introduction in the beginning by Chris Carter. So each episode would start, it's one episode on each side. It would start a little bit of an introduction, talking about the episode, and then moving into it. So it's definitely something for fans of the show that have seen it before. And it's really good quality. I think these are fantastic, and then of course they have the Japanese releases as well. But yeah, these are amazing releases. So I have a whole bunch of these. This one has the pilot and Deep Throat. There's beautiful sets, and again, just fantastic quality. I love the way LaserDisc looks for TV shows, particularly TV shows in the 90s. A lot of the ones I have from that era have done really well. LaserDisc, Humbug, and Anasazi. Little Green Men and The Host. And these I really like having on LaserDisc because they include a lot of my favorite episodes from the show. Conduit and Ice. Fallen Angel and Eve. Fallen Angel I really like because that was the first episode of the show I ever saw. I missed the very, very beginning of Season 1 when it was first airing, and actually never saw the entire series the whole way through while it was first on. I don't remember why. For some reason along the way I stopped watching. I don't think it was a loss of interest in the show, just other things going on at that age, and then got more into it later in life, especially in my 20s. The Erlenmeyer Flask and Darkness Falls. It was also a show that no one else in my family watched, and a lot of what I watched, aside from stuff when I was a little kid, like when I was older, was more, a lot of it was stuff with the family. This one's my favorite because I just love these episodes, and I think they're such great examples of the beginning of the series. We have Squeeze and Tombs, and this is a good example too of how it's 2 episodes collected by theme, because Season 1, Episode 2, and 20. And that is my X-Files collection, one of the bigger collections I have for a TV show, and just a brilliant show that I will revisit over and over again. It's one of those shows that is fun to rewatch the whole way through over a long period of time, like months and months kind of thing, over the course of a year maybe, and just, I love these LaserDiscs because they're a great way, and the 2 DVD collections I have by theme, to just kind of put on an episode, the favorite episode, or episodes collected by a central theme or whatever. It's a lot of fun to watch, and it's a great show. And again, it's one that the early seasons were the best of the best, but even when it was at its worst, it was still incredibly enjoyable. Fascinating show, and there's never been anything quite like it. There were some shows, there was another one in the 90s that was short-lived. I can't remember what it was called off the top of my head. It was like a season or 2 that was kind of like the X-Files, but just wasn't quite the same. There really hasn't been anything that quite captured that same feeling. One of my favorite shows from the 1990s on television, The X-Files. I'd love to hear your memories of The X-Files, and if you have a collection of the show yourself, I'd love to see a link on YouTube. I know some people have all the seasons that were released on LaserDisc and those big box sets, and that's really, really cool.